Hey, Suns fans. Welcome once again to the Suns Jam Session podcast. My name is John. I'm one of your hosts. You can follow me on Twitter at Darth Voida. You can follow the show on Twitter at Suns Jam. And you can listen to this podcast on the Bright Side of the Sun podcast network. I'm joined, as always, by the master of the microphone, my podcasting partner, that is Mr. Matthew Lissy. Matthew, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How's it going out there? You doing all right there, John?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I got to say, this podcast snuck up on me a little bit, man. All of a sudden, it's like they're starting to come fast and furious. I'm loving it, man. Like basketball's going on. There's so much to talk about, and we're gonna have our preseason JAMMYs on this episode. For those of you who don't know, last year we did our end of year JAMMYs, and this is gonna be our preseason JAMMYs. So we'll come back to this at the end of the season and see how right we really were when it comes to predicting our JAMMY Award winners.
Yeah, nothing better than predictions. I think we're really good at it. We'll keep tally and keep score and see who comes out on top at the end of the year.
We never do. We never keep tally or score.
I know. We'll forget next week. We'll actually probably change our answers next week.
Yeah, seriously. After like watching two Suns games, I'll be like, okay, I'm completely wrong about whoever. Whatever the awards are, we'll go over those momentarily for all
very
the Suns
complicated
fans
thing.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. I got to give a props in the chat to Nathaniel Dars. He said he tested positive for being a Suns fan and COVID both this past week, but he's living the good life. So Nathaniel, and to all of our listeners out there, hope you guys are staying safe. Wear your mask, take care of yourself, take care of each other. That's what it's about. We're excited that we're going to be starting the season here momentarily, or here in a couple days. And the key to enjoying that is staying safe. So shout out to everyone who's watching us live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We've got Preshay Sutton in the chat. Hello. We got Vincent Stefanelli. We got Coda Kid. We got Blaze Megatron. Everybody is here. So I got to pop open a beer, Matthew. My friends are
pop
here.
That open. Pop it open for me too.
Yeah, there you go. You like how I brought the beer opener this time, huh? Smart this guy is. Last time I looked like an idiot. So cheers to all of my fellow Suns fans. Let's drink a beer. Let's talk Phoenix Suns. So, Matthew, the preseason is now officially over. We can put it in the rear view. We no longer have to sit there and try to navigate all the different opinions as they actually matter, because the games didn't matter. But if you were to look back at the preseason, who is your preseason MVP for the Phoenix Suns?
It would have to be Devon Booker. I think it came so easy for him, man. I think he scored 50 points a game. Everything. I think he was seriously.
Your stats are so wrong.
Yeah. No, he seriously had it easy this preseason. He came back the way he played in the bubble. Certainly the MVP. But also I could give it to a guy too like Javon Carter, who really showed a lot. I feel like he did it both on the bench and then the starting lineup. So those are my two MVPs. But overall, of course, Devon Booker. What about you?
It's got to be Booker. I mean, to your point, everything was smooth for D-Book. Nothing looked hard for him. And that with the offense that's going to be set in place this year, it's only going to be easier for him. And I think that we're both really excited, as well as all of the Suns fans out there, for that this is going to be one of those years where Booker really takes that next step. And you look at kind of that last game against the Lakers, which is the one we haven't talked about. But there was no CP3 in that game, and Javon got the nod. And I want to talk a little bit more about this, because you mentioned this on the last podcast about how he has the ability to keep his dribble alive, how you really think that he's going to take that next step this year. And for everybody who's wondering about the playmaker and who that's going to be behind CP3, you really have your faith in C4, don't you?
Yeah, playmaking maybe is a step above what he is right now. Right now, he can keep the dribble alive, really keep people involved. But his number one thing, I feel like even from last year, he's changed his attitude towards just finding the open man. I think the teammates around him, when he plays with the second team, they need to be prepared to be open, and like they need to cut, they need to find the open space. I feel like he's just looking for the guy to make the correct pass. And that's the thing I love. And I don't know if I really saw too much last year. I know he was just basically a shooter, but he can run to the corner. He'll get ready to shoot. He'll be ready to shoot. Transition, he's fantastic. I think everything he's doing right now for that backup position is everything we needed in a starting point guard the last decade. But now we have CP3 and we had Ricky Rubio last year, but he's just a guy I feel like who really is seeing himself maybe as a future starting point guard. Maybe that's too much because it is just the preseason. We'll see how it goes along in the regular season. But right now, I love what I'm seeing from him. I mean, do you feel the same way or a little bit?
I don't think I'm as excited as you are, but after you mentioned that, I went back and I listened to the pod and I was like, oh man, I cut Matthew off right when he was making a good point on that. And I think it's something that we really need to take a look at. I mean, Monty, he's thinking along those lines. He had the opportunity with CP3 being out against the Lakers to start a point guard other than CP3. And whereas in game 1, he started Campaign, in this game, he started C4. And he really showcased that he has the ability to be a pest defensively against starting caliber players. You know, that's where it all begins with Javon Carter, is his defense. I mean, his ability to pickpocket LeBron James was fun to watch. I mean, LeBron would come down and when LeBron's getting ready to go down the lane, you just know it. I mean, he's like 6'8", 6'9", just ready to just go through anybody. And Javon Carter would just poke the ball away from him real quick and start a fast break. And from there, in transition is where you can see where he has the ability to be special. He can stop and pop. He can dish it to the right guy. It's going to take more training. You know, I mean, he's in his 3rd year now out of West Virginia, and he's going to be learning behind CP3. And I think that this is going to be something really fun to watch this year, is to see if he can really take that next step to become a playmaker. He has the defensive capability. He has the shooting ability. Does he have the playmaking ability? If so, the Suns are going to be a really scary team if you can plug him in consistently behind CP3.
Yeah, and that's what you have to watch, because I think he has it in him. It's just the players have to get used to it. You kind of saw with the pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton a little bit in that game. Other players, including Saric, when Saric comes back, that's a good pick and roll guy to play with, pick and pop, whatever you want to do with the guy. He seriously, is someone to watch this year, to really like just maybe someone that is a trade target. I don't know, just someone that's going to like raise expectations for himself, and we're going to see quite the improvement with this guy, I think, and I believe.
Well, I'm looking forward to the season starting on Wednesday for that exact reason, because you and I have always been on C4 Island or C4 Cove or whatever, fun, creative. We got to reach out to Espo because he's always got great bodies of land or water, and attaches those to Suns players' last names. I think what was the new Langston Lagoon for Langston Galloway? That's the new spot. Yeah, it was on the last Solar Panel podcast. Which is check them out sometime.
I watched it.
You forgot it.
I don't know what happened. My earphone might have fell out.
Oh, okay. It happens from time to time. They just kind of, But you look at that Suns versus Lakers game. A couple things that I want to point out was just how, even with CP3 out, how good that first team unit looked. It really started with Mikal. I mean, he's somebody who is low key going to be just an amazing player. Suns fans know it. And even did you listen to the national broadcast, or did you listen to the Fox Sports Arizona broadcast?
Fox Sports for the first half, national for the second.
Okay, interesting. So I listened to Jeff Van Gundy and the national broadcast pretty much the entire time. I went back to Fox Sports Arizona on occasion, but I always like to hear what the national guys are saying about the team and what their perspective from afar is on that team, knowing that they come into the pre-games, going on the Zoom calls now, interviewing the players, trying to come up with, with a funny story that they could tell nationally to share with everybody that we already know. Now, obviously, Mikal Bridges is somebody who all Suns fans know, love, admire, and respect, and are looking forward to seeing his development and him take that next leap this year. He's not somebody who they talked about too much on the broadcast. And I was kind of shocked, because he came out looking great in all aspects. I mean, his shot is looking smooth. His ability to get to the rim is looking great. His defense on the Braun, I mean, just fantastic. He took that nasty fall, but he came right back. And, overall, he was one of the reasons the Suns were up, and they had 39 points in that first quarter.
Yeah, he's that guy. He's kind of really quiet. Sometimes you're like, where's Mikal? Oh, there he is. He's doing something just random, kind of like Javon Carter, where he'll do so many things on the floor to where he can just fill in at any spot. Defensively, I mean, he's amazing. But for the broadcast, not really to talk about him, it's fine. A lot of the announcers, the analysts, they don't really know. KOC is probably the only one that knows Mikal Bridges. A lot of times you hear Bridges, they say Miles Bridges. So this is the year where he does make a name for himself, because he has the right surrounding pieces by him. And plus, it's going into his 3rd year. This is the year where you make yourself an NBA player. You really prove yourself in a way of just, this is my game. And so I think he has an opportunity to really showcase himself, and he's going to. And next time they're on ESPN, I'm pretty sure they'll talk about him, which would be Wednesday, right?
I believe so. Yeah, the first
Yeah.
game's on ESPN. I like what Raymond Gonzalez says in the Facebook chat. LeBron knows who Mikal is. That fellow
Yes.
players know who Mikal Bridges is. The Warden will lock you down. And
Yeah.
the team as a whole played great defense in that first half. Ayton looked great too. I mean, bodying up Trez Harrell on one play, moving laterally against LeBron on another play, using his length to deter shots, going straight up versus into players. I mean, how important is Ayton's defense going to be to his development as a player this year? I mean, we all want him to get those double machines. No one really talks about defense. I mean, what have you seen as far as he goes defensively, and how do you think that's going to impact his overall kind of perception around the league? And will it shut up some Suns fans?
Well, he's definitely on the right track. I think defensively, he's even said, we talked about it before, where he wants to improve the most on defense. And there's a lot of plays too you saw in this preseason where he wouldn't roll, he wouldn't actually collapse in the right way. You would see the bench react in a way like, hey, DeAndre, you know what to do there. Like they believe him to be a smarter defender, and he is. Some plays this preseason, he's been kind of lazy. He kind of thought like maybe I should stay on my man. He wouldn't like switch, stuff like that. But he has improved so much from last year to, I mean, from a second year. I'm sorry, from his first to second year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can already see it going into this year. I think he's actually really impressive. There are some things he's missing out on, but I think when the season starts and they have that core together with Jay Crowder and CP3 and DeAndre Ayton, just like the holy trinity basically of defense, it's gonna be a hard time for other offenses to score. And his offense too in the first quarter was just so solid. He is just making it consistent. Back-to-back games against the Lakers where he really showed like, I don't know, like he showed a different side of him where he was just serious on the court. That's the only way I can really describe it. He was serious and consistent at just making those quick choices. And that's what we need from him. And he's going to get to the rim every time. And he keeps showing that too as well.
And it was impressive considering the Lakers have that big front line, and he was in there holding his own, playing defense, deterring their shots. He was Montrezl Harrell was getting pissed because he would go up, and I mean, a brick wall was waiting for him. His name was DeAndre Ayton. So it was nice. It was nice to see that against the Lakers. It was nice to see the 69 first half points. 20 of those came from Book. And what was interesting is after Booker came out and was kind of on fire, you started to see a lot of Anthony Davis on Devon Booker. They kept working themselves in and out of switches, trying to get him off of him. But I mean, I thought that was interesting that became a Laker strategy. Is like, listen, if we want to try to shut him down, we're going to put AD on him. Did you notice that?
No, that is something I noticed. I even noticed this triple team. I think it was him, LeBron, and who was the other guy that triple team Booker, but Booker still went up for a shot, it looked like, but he passed it to Jay Crowder in the corner for the three. So he's getting the triple team coverage already. I mean, this guy, he can make it from any spot on the floor. He's just that consistent now where it's just super easy for him. So in order to stop their offense, you have to worry about him, number one. And it's always been that way, but he's never had a supporting cast like this. So he's going to make the right play to get out of those switches. And it is funny to see AD on him because AD is twice the size of him. And I don't know if he can really even stop. I know AD is a great defender, but Book is hard to, you've seen those videos against KD from the USA camps. I think it was like 2 years ago. It's just like, he's hard to stop no matter how big you are on defense, how long you are. He can still get a shot over anybody.
Yeah. AD's a cheat code, man. I mean, we saw him in this game in the third quarter. He just took over and he didn't care. I mean, he was heat checking himself, just launching threes, anybody on him. I mean, if Ayton was on him, he would just take 2 steps behind the 3-point line and start shooting. So, the Lakers obviously showed why they're going to be a tough team, but it was nice to see that the Suns, for a couple nights in a row, hung in there with them, with our first teams and our kind of second, our 2.5 team. Because again, without Dario Saric playing, with Cam not playing in game 3, you can't count those games. Well, none of them count, but you really can't count those as, good head-to-head competitions because the depth wasn't necessarily there. Cam looked good in this game, though. I mean, his strength's there. I mean, that's going to be something that we mentioned on the last podcast. I think you were saying how he's not going to be somebody who's going to come out and score 15 a night, not like Mikal Bridges, but he's going to be somebody who can come out and he might have a night where he drops 20 like it's nothing. And then he might put up 5 the next, but as long as it's assisting the team, it's going to be beneficial. And I'm looking forward to seeing Cam come off that bench like a flamethrower, because he had it when he was playing against the Lakers the other night.
Yeah, he did. He kind of started out slow, but he came in and I think he hit 3 in a row or something like that, crazy, which was perfect to see because that's the way he's going to be, like you just said. But what's nice is that when we used to rely on him last year, like every game, like, come on, you got to come in, you got to make at least 5 out of 6, something like that. But now if it's not him, I mean, it's like Etuan Moore, Langston Galloway is, of course, the guy now who just the quickest, sharpest shooter we've had in a long time on this team. And I think it's K-Ray that keeps saying he reminds him of Eddie Jones. Or not Eddie Jones, I'm sorry, Eddie House.
Eddie House.
Yeah, so I mean, he's just a quick shooter. So we got guys around him too, to where Cam Johnson, I feel like still needs to improve on getting to the rim. That's something that we saw where he can kind of pull up to a mid-range shot too. That was nice to see this last game. But besides that, I think that we just really will count on him to come in and just be streaky shooter from the outside.
Well, and you need those guys. You need to have those guys who can consistently bring in offense from the bench. And with the Langston Galloways and with the Cam Johnsons of the world, we're going to see that. I mean, those guys can come in, get hot, and put up some points for us in a hurry, while your big guys, your Holy Trinity, if you will, with CP3, DA, and D Book sitting on the bench. And that's what's really going to benefit the Suns this year, is that sustained scoring and the ability to have the guys to do that. So it was nice to see. Was there anything else that you took away from that Laker game?
No, I like the consistency. I know they lost the game in the end, but I feel like that's just when we have Chris Paul in there and Booker is actually going to come in and close out the game. So I'm not too worried about the loss, of course, but I think all around from what we saw in the first game, where it was kind of scary, the overreactions, which was of course me too as well with DeAndre Ayton. There was just a lot that we saw from those 2 Lakers games that just, this is a different team. This is going to be a team that can go on like maybe 5 to 6 or 7 game win streaks this year, because they're going to play that consistent. And you just saw in this game, they come out strong and they just need to learn how to end those games. But you have one of the clutchest players in the game and closing the game, and that's going to be CP3. So I'm not too worried about that.
Well, you have that, and then also, I mean, you're going up against the Lakers. Granted, it was their second team, but I mean, it's going to be fun to get into those battles. And the Lakers are a team that we're actually not going to play until the 37th game, if I remember correctly, of the regular season. Yeah. So it's going to be a while till we see the Lakers. We're going to we start off with the Mavs, and then we have those 2 against the Kings, and that's what we have to look forward to over this next week. Is that it's going to be interesting, but knowing that we have the ability to keep up with them, even if it's a preseason game. You see AD hitting those monster shots, and that was just to keep them in the game. It's not like they were blowing us out at that point. It was still a game the entire time. So cheers to the Suns on a preseason. Glad it's over. It's always exciting to watch preseason, but I'm always happy when it's over because I'm ready for these games to count.
Me too, man. Me too. It's going to be great.
One thing that did happen, I believe it was yesterday, the Suns said goodbye to Jonathan Motley, the 6'8" power forward from Baylor. They brought him in, gave him a test drive, and now he's gone. And what deservedly so. I mean, he didn't look great, right?
No, he didn't. I mean, he got like the snickle fritz of the minutes and stuff, but he played kind of a lot in the last 2 games for him, but he was just always out of place. I feel like when he was the only guy in the court where I was like, all right, this guy's probably going to maybe be cut. And that's the only thing I really thought about him the whole time he was playing. Good luck to him though. But I just think that his fit here wasn't, it wasn't a good fit. But what do you think like on replacing this guy? You have any idea who the Suns might go after?
Did you say Snickle Fritz?
Snickle Fritz, yeah.
What the fuck is a schnitzel?
I've been eating Snickle Fritz.
Is that a candy? What?
No, like the Snickle Fritz is like you get the crappy end, the short of the stick kind of thing.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, you never heard that?
No.
It was in that one movie, Pineapple Express, where like the guys came over to buy their weed, and like he's like, I'm gonna give him the Snickle Fritz. And
okay.
Like when you're my age, you get the Snickle Fritz stuff in life.
Yeah. It's like, man, make sure you wipe after those Snickle Fritz, huh? Sounds kind of
sounds like a cookie, right? So you can hear my nose and stuff. I think I had too many cookies today, dude. I don't know. My nose sounds all stuffed up.
Lay off the Snickle Fritz, man. Lay off the Snickle Fritz. As far as replacing Motley, you have to go with a big, right? Like,
yes.
If we get another guard, our guard rotation's really deep. We have enough wings. Jalen Smith has actually become more of a wing than a big. I think that's something that I found kind of interesting.
Me too.
As I've watched him play, he's hanging out more on the perimeter. He crashes down still, but he's hanging out on the perimeter. So I don't know if the bidding adieu to Jonathan Motley is it going to allow the Suns an opportunity to bring in another wing, but they should go big. What would you think if they brought back Big Frank Kaminsky?
Oh, I'm excited. He's the first name I would actually be excited to bring back, dude. if Frank, he was just the guy to come in to really shoot the three, and there's nothing wrong with that on this roster. I think if you bring him in, it's more than what Motley was doing. So he was the only name I really thought of to replace Motley's spot. But is that the only guy you were thinking of? Was Big Frank Kaminsky?
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy who the Kings released yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
So once I saw he was gone, I was like, okay, I could do with Big Frank back on the team if he came in and just was jacking up a couple threes.
Yeah.
Like if we have depth enough, if we have rebounding depth, because that's what it comes down to. Because you look against the Lakers, I mean, the Suns were out rebounding the Lakers the majority of that game, and I like when we out rebound teams. I mean, perhaps I'm old school, but I like offensive boards. I like second chance points, things of that nature. You're not going to get those from Frank, but like at least with Frank, you know what you get, right?
Yeah, I mean, 2 really, really hot games of shooting the threes. That's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And that's
and a lot of him fanning himself.
Yeah. And he's probably a great locker room guy, right? He got along with the guys, so bring him back.
Yeah. I think so. We should start that hashtag bring back Frank.
Yeah. Bring back Frank. Bring back Frank.
All right. That quickly faded. So, but we'll see what the Suns do. Is there anyone else out there that you saw that you think that the Suns should pick up? Or
no, there's not really anybody of interest to me. That's what I was trying to ask you, because I don't really know who else the Suns would be trying to acquire to adding to that roster spot. But Frank is coming back. That's what we're saying here live, is Frank is coming back.
Yeah, breaking news on the Suns Jam session. We want him back. Probably just because we don't know who else is out there at this point.
Yeah,
I'm sure our listeners can tell us a few guys who are out there and available. And remember that essentially you're replacing the 14th guy on the roster. Like, this isn't a guy who's going to play a whole bunch.
Exactly. Yeah.
It is that time that everybody's been waiting for. It's time for Matthew and I to make our preseason predictions in a segment that we call
The Jammies.
So again, we do this every year. It's the Suns Jam session. So we have the Jammies, kind of like the Grammys, where we dish out different awards, and we do these twofold. We do one for the Suns and then one for the league. Now they can be both. If you think that the league MVP is going to be Devon Booker, then he qualifies for both of the Big Dick Book Awards. Okay. But you ready to go through these, Matthew? You ready to hand out some Jammies?
Yeah, it's going to be a wild ride.
2021 season.
Yeah, don't ask any questions. Just go with it, guys.
Just go with it. Just go with it. All right. Here we go. So the first award that we're going to hand out for the 2020-2021 season is the Big Dick Book Award. Now this goes to the guy who is going to be the league MVP or the team MVP for the Suns. So Matthew, who's your Big Dick Book Award winner for the Phoenix Suns?
Okay, so it's funny to do this award and not give it to Book. I'm actually not. I'm going to give it to Chris Paul for the Suns. I think Chris Paul, of course, coming in, he unlocks everything for everybody. He's the Steve Nash of this team, basically. He's going to make it easier. Book will have the stats, but the reason we're winning is Chris Paul. League Big Dick Book Award is going to go to Jokic. I think Jokic, this is the year he's going to win it. I am predicting the Denver Nuggets will be number 1 seed this year. I think they lost some good players, of course, but that just makes it even more of a realistic chance for Jokic to win. I think he'll have the stats, and I think he's just going to be the main guy on the best team in the NBA this year. I know it's weird to say, but there's going to be a lot of teams sitting players, so I pick Jokic. What about you, man?
That's an interesting point, though. A lot of teams are going to be sitting players, because if I'm looking at my Big Dick Book Award for the league, I'm giving it to Anthony Davis. I think that you look at the fact that Giannis won the league MVP the past 2 seasons, and voters get MVP fatigue. I mean, the last time a guy won 3 in a row was Larry Bird, and it's only happened 3 times total. Bill Russell, 1961 to 1963, Walt Chamberlain, 1966 to 1968, and what's that?
Oh, you said Walt Chamberlain?
Oh, yeah. Is that what I said?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Sorry, I interrupted.
and Larry Bird, 1984 to 1986. So if Giannis were to win the MVP, that'd be only the 4th time ever that you would have a 3-time consecutive MVP in the league. So I don't know if that's going to happen. I really think that AD is kind of going to be the front runner outside of Giannis this year. I think that Devin Booker will get some votes, and for that reason, I'm going to give it the Big Dick Book Award to Big Dick Book. Okay.
Bring it home, baby.
He's going to score 29 points a game. He's going to have, probably 6 assists a game. He's going to probably second team All NBA is my guess. So I really think that it's only appropriate to provide him with the award that's named after him. Okay.
Yeah, that's great. Has there ever been an MVP that's won that was traded in the middle of the season? Like Giannis will this year?
No.
No.
How are you going to trade Giannis?
He's getting traded.
Yeah, right. With that contract he just signed?
Contracts don't matter in the NBA. They don't.
Okay, wow.
When I saw the contract, I'm like, who cares? He'll be out of here this year, next year.
Well, it doesn't kick in until next year.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't matter anyways.
Okay, well, let's try our second award. Now this is an award. This is the Skeleton Key Award. So this essentially is provided to the guy who unlocks everything for the team. And last year, we gave this award to Ricky Rubio. And then on a league-wide level, you gave this to CP3, and I actually gave this to Kemba Walker last year. So who is winning the Skeleton Key Award for you, Matthew?
All right, that Skeleton in the Closet Key Award is going to go to Chris Paul. He is unlocking everything. So just like the MVP, he's unlocking everything for this team, and it's going to be NBA-wide. That's an NBA-wide award for him. I just think he's the guy to unlock everything for DeAndre Ayton, Devon Booker even more, Mikal Bridges, everybody on this team. It's going to be up to CP3, so that's what I'm going to give it to. What about you?
So you're saying for the team and for the league, the Skeleton Key Award goes to CP3. Damn.
Is that yours?
Just like Blaze Megatron says in the chat, pretty obvious again, CP3. Yeah, I'm with you. It's CP3 on both accounts. It was a little tougher last year trying to think who really unlocked their team, but it's definitely going to be CP3 for the Suns and league-wide this year. So that award was kind of lame, and it might not make it to the end of year jammies. I don't know.
It's always going to be here. I love that award.
All right. Well, how about this one, Matthew? This is the Matthew's Dad Award for the sixth man. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Matthew, for some reason, believes that Eddie Johnson is his dad, and Eddie Johnson is probably one of the best sixth mans in league history. And for those of you watching on YouTube, there's a picture of me with Eddie Johnson just to spite Matthew. So, Matthew, who wins the Matthew's Dad Award for the Suns, and who wins the sixth man award for the league?
All right, so six man, the Matthew's Dad Award. I'm gonna say Saric, but I think really Javon Carter has a chance for the Suns to be the sixth man of the year award. Saric, I actually predicted to win it league wide, but I'm actually gonna go Gallinari with the Hawks because he agreed to play the sixth man this year for the Hawks for some reason. He's not starting. If that stays true to the end of the year, this is the best sixth man out there. So, but then also the Hawks would have to be pretty good too as well. But I'm gonna go Gallinari. He's gonna be my dad award. Yep.
Okay. The Matthews Dad Award for the Suns. I think we all agree it's got to be Dario. Like, we need it to be Dario. If the Suns want to be successful this year, it has to be Dario Saric. So that's who I'm granting it to. I think that the fact that he's embraced the role to come off the bench and be that versatile 4/5 for the Suns, at the same time having the ability to move the ball and be point Dario on occasion if we need it to be, is going to be of utmost importance for the Suns. It's going to be vital for their success moving forward in this year. So hopefully he's the guy who wins it for the Suns. On the national level, I'm going to go with Jordan Clarkson. And this is probably recency bias, seeing as Jordan Clarkson beat the shit out of the Suns for a couple games up there in Utah. But I really liked what I saw. I saw that he's the kind of guy who, what did Eddie keep saying? Your dad. What did he keep saying? He's like, the guy's like an instant bucket, that's who he is. And he's going to be coming off the bench. I think that Gallinari is definitely a great pick. If he's embracing that role, he's got the ability to score, but so does Jordan Clarkson. He's going to be on a team that's potentially going to be, a top 5 team. I hope not. I hope that the Jazz somehow falter after giving Rudy Gobert that ridiculous contract, by the way. That's a ridiculous. Did you see that? Like, would you pay Rudy Gobert that kind of money?
Yeah, I would pay anybody any kind of money in the NBA because contracts don't matter.
Okay. Okay, well, fair enough. Well, anyways, knowing that team is constructed the way that it is, having Jordan Clarkson come in off the bench, the guy's going to probably drop, the magic number is kind of like 18 points a game. If you can get to about 18 points a game coming off the bench, you are the Matthews Dad Award winner. Obviously, Dario's not going to hit that for the Suns, but I feel like Jordan Clarkson is going to do it for the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
We've got B Easy in the chat. Clarkson or Lou Williams, who y'all taking? I'm going to stick with Clarkson. I think Lou Williams, he's starting to get a little bit older, and I think that you never want to predict injuries, but I feel like fatigue might be a part of that team and how they operate. And he's somebody who could probably, his legs aren't as fresh as they used to be. What do you think, Matthew?
I'll go Clarkson on this one. I like that Utah team too as well, and I think they're going to be better than people think this year. So I'm going to go Clarkson.
Okay,
big help from Clarkson this year.
All right, well there you go. There's the Matthew's Dad Award winner. What's next, Matthew? What's next?
All right, the next award is the Mad Max Award, the most improved player for the Suns or around the league.
Okay, now I know what you're all thinking out there. Why is the most improved player of the league called the Mad Max Award? Well, I'll tell you why, okay? I recently, during the quarantine, sat down and watched Mad Max. I'd never seen them. I've seen the Fury Road, and I was like, you know what? I've never actually gone back and watched the movies from like 1979. And I watched the first movie, and it was dog shit. It was horrible. I'm like, oh my God. I get what they're trying to do, but it's 1979 cinema. It's not anything that's great. It's really long, drawn out shots. And you're like, okay, this is about 10 seconds too long. Can we wrap it up here? And then the second Mad Max was, Welcome to Thunderdome. All of a sudden you're like, okay, this is a movie. This is most improved movie over movie. So therefore, when we originally made these awards up a few months ago at the end of the last season, which is 2 weeks ago, I came up with the Mad Max Award. So the Mad Max Award for the most improved player, I'm going to give it on the Suns to Dario Saric as well. I think that, again, with Dario embracing his role, he's going to have the ability to kind of fall in line and do what he needs to do effectively versus fighting for minutes, playing against first teamers who, let's face it, Dario's hustle is, 100. His athletic ability is probably like a 75. So when you take that 75 athletic ability and you try to put that against, the other fours in the league, he struggled last year. But now that if he falls in line, he's going to be doing his six-man thing. I really think that he's going to be the most improved Phoenix Sun. As for the entire league, I was, looking at Tyler Hero. I kind of feel is the flavor of the month, and that's who I'm going to go with. I had a fantasy basketball draft this morning, and I made sure that I got Tyler Hero out of it because I just think that he's going to have the ability to light it up. And the national spotlight's kind of on him. When the voters put in their Mad Max Award votes, it'll probably be for Tyler Hero. What are you thinking there, Matthew?
I love those choices. But
thank you.
Yet again, I got to bring up the Bulldog, Javon Carter. He's going to be most improved. I think you're just going to see the consistency in his game. I use that word all the time. But with him last year, it was really difficult for him to have a complete stretch of really good games. What I've seen in preseason, what I've seen in the bubble with him, and now behind CP3, I just think his game is going to be endless this year to where he's not going to put up gaudy stats, but he's always going to be there in every game to try to help us win in different ways. So he's going to be the most improved just because we're going to be so used to talking about him on every podcast to where it's going to come to account to where you have to stop talking about this guy because I think he's going to be that good this year. And he's probably going to suck. Who knows? I'm probably just overlooking it. But league-wide, this is a little different. I'm going to choose Alonzo Ball. I think he's going to be most improved. Okay. He had an off year or off bubble. His bubble performance was terrible. But my thing is, I think James Harden is actually going to get traded to the Pelicans this year. I think Lonzo Ball is going to come over to the Houston Rockets, and he's going to put up some better stats this year. Even with being on the Pelicans, I think he will too as well. He'll improve his game. And I just think that when he gets traded to the Houston Rockets, they still have a good team over there too as well. Not as much pressure, kind of a rebuilding thing if he goes over there. So I just think he'll be most improved for that reason.
That was
kind of weird, right?
Well, it was a very complex reasoning, seeing as you think of all these trades. Like it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember who Pepe Silvia is?
Yeah.
It's like Pepe Silvia. It's like there is no Pepe Silvia, Matthew. Like there's all these different conspiracies on who's getting traded where and whatnot. I'll come back to that. I'll start with Javon Carter. I think what's going to be exciting for Javon, and one of the reasons that you are excited to watch Javon this year, is because I really feel like he's going to get the minutes. He's going to get the play. I think that Monty last year realized what he had when the bubble came around. The problem he had last year is he kept trying to give his affinity for Elie Okobo was unjustified, and he kept providing him with minutes and opportunities coming off the bench. And I think that if Javon Carter has the opportunity that you and I both believe he will, he's going to have a chance to really elevate his game, become the most improved Sun, and hopefully be that kind of diamond in the rough that we're really hoping he is. Again, it comes down to opportunity. If he starts to have some bad games, I'm hoping he doesn't run into a bunch of those DNPs that he received in the middle of last year. I think it was January of this past season. He didn't play a bunch, and we were all kind of looking at each other as Suns fans and be like, well, why is Javon not playing? I think that this is going to be a season where he's really going to have a chance to lose the job. I hope that Monty gives it to him and he loses, he has a chance to lose it and he doesn't lose it. So as for Alonzo Ball, again, another guy who I drafted on my fantasy basketball team this morning, but don't forget the Suns Jam Session Listener League, the draft is tomorrow night at 7:30. So I got to stop telling you all the guys I drafted because now you know who I'm keyed in on. I was pissed though because I didn't get LaMelo Ball. I wanted both Lonzo and LaMelo Ball. And and then I was going to be the Ball brothers. But I got Devon Booker with I think I had the 10th overall pick, and I named my team Big Dick Book. That's the name of my team. But yeah, so I think that you look at both those guys. Lonzo Ball really has a chance to become the most improved player because the national narrative on him right now is he sucked in the bubble. That was the last taste that everybody had in their mouth. Therefore, they're ready and willing to write him off. And given that team and that offense, the Pelicans are going to be somebody who could surprise some people, I think.
Yeah, but I think they could, but I think people are waiting to be surprised by them. I just think it's whether or not Alonzo Ball performs, and I think he's going to this year, but I don't think it's going to be on that team the whole year. So
okay, so what's the next award?
Oh boy, this one's actually a really good one. I love this one. The Uncle Jesse Katsopoulos Award for the best hair.
Oh, Uncle Jesse Katsopoulos from Full House. So who on the Suns has what's that?
I just love these awards. They're hilarious.
who on the Suns has the best hair, and who league-wide has the best hair? Matthew, go.
Okay, so league-wide, I'll start with that.
Okay.
I think LeBron James by far has the best hair. I think he's actually growing it out in the front so much he might have cornrows pretty soon. No,
stupid.
No, league-wide, I think you're going to see a lot from Kelly Oubre this year, a lot of different styles. I think now that he's over in California, I don't know if that even has anything to do with it. I just think he's going to match their uniforms a lot. I think he's going to change it up a lot. So he's going to be the league-wide best hairdo for this season to where we can go back photograph for photograph. I think there's going to be 7 different changes this year. That's what I feel like. I think he's going to do that. And I think that for the Phoenix Suns, it's hard to watch Papa Ricky go. But
that was good hair, man. That was good hair that Papa Ricky had.
Yeah, that was the best hair.
Nice mane there, Ricky Rubio.
Yeah, that was tough. But I'm gonna go Cam Johnson. I just think I like his fro. I'm not too sure where it's at right now, but I did just watch him. Never mind. But I think it's gonna be a little bit bigger this year. I think he can grow that out. I think it's gonna be beautiful. So I'm gonna pick Cam. What about you?
Okay, so I'll start Suns, then I'll go league wide. Suns, okay. I love Jay Crowder. I love Drake. It's got kind of like the Larry Fitzgerald look to it. But I just think, when you see guys who've got the dreadlock look to them, they typically are just badass motherfuckers, man. You look at Montrezl Harrell and his hairdo. You look at Jay Crowder. These are guys who are just polished defenders who just want to swat the ball right back in your face. So Cam is a close second for me, for sure, especially considering he's grown it out so much and it looks great when he's running up and down the court. But Jay Crowder, just it looks smooth as he wears that number 99 jersey.
Yeah.
You got to give it up to Blaze Megatron in the chat. Alex Caruso. No, league wide, I got to give it to Jared Allen from the Nets, man. I love Jared Allen. He's got the big 70s fro going. He's with the Brooklyn Nets uniform. It looks clean, man. And I know that John Morant, somebody who I also really like his hair as well. But it's interesting because I was looking back at our last JAMMY Awards and I gave it to Jared Allen then too. I don't know. I think it looks great.
Yeah, dude. That's why I like Josh Jackson so much coming out of the draft because of his hair. I just love the fros, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. You got it. I'm gonna pick you number 1.
Yep.
Over anybody in my life.
So in your life, wow. Alex Caruso, though. I mean, there's got to be the worst hair award. We got to come up with that one. Who's got the worst hair? That would be Alex Caruso. And who's got the worst hair on the Suns? Who do you think?
It's tough. I mean, I know Chris Paul's balding a little bit, but I mean, I guess when you're 30 years old, you're old and you start balding. I don't know. Who do you think? I mean, there's no one out there where I'm like, ugh, I can't think of anybody that has the worst hair. I love
maybe DeAndre Ayton's beard a little bit.
I think DeAndre looks cool. The more hair, the better. I think he looks awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't. It's hard to choose, man. There's not really anything bad on there.
Coda Kid in the chat. Jared Allen's got that Jackie Moon look. Exactly. Looks fantastic.
Exactly, dude.
All right, well, let's hit the next Jammy Award, and this is the Surprise the Fuck Out of You Award for the guy who's going to surprise the fuck out of you this year. So I'm going to start this off by, for the Suns, I think it's going to be Langston Galloway. I don't know if he's really I know he surprised a lot of, casual Suns fans in his first couple performances in the preseason. And I really think that he's the kind of guy who's going to win you a couple games this year, and he's going to surprise you. And you're going to be like, damn, I'm so glad we have Langston Galloway on our team, because his ability to shoot the three ball, to have that quick release, that Eddie House-esque release that he has, his ability to be a pest offensively for the opposing teams might earn him some minutes in crunch time, and he's going to hit some big shots. And I think when we look back at the end of the season, he's going to be the guy you're just like, damn, dude, I did not see that coming. Last season, it was more of Javon Carter. He was the guy who came over in an acquisition who we didn't really expect to do much. And then defensively, he was just a bulldog, and he didn't stop, and he was tenacious. And I really feel like Langston Galloway's the same way, but not defensively, offensively. So that's my surprise the fuck out of you award winner for the Suns. And then you look at league-wide, I'm going to just go with LaMelo Ball. I think a lot of people hate on LaMelo Ball because he's a ball brother and his dad's a jackass. But you know what? Look at the skill set. That kid's good, man.
You say that word very well.
What, jackass? Yeah. It's one of my favorite words to call people when they're not listening. But he's really fun to watch, and I think that he's going to win Rookie of the Year. I honestly believe that he's going to have the opportunity. He's flashy. He's fun to watch. He's an idiot too. I mean, but I really think that he's going to surprise the fuck out of a lot of people.
What about you? Yeah. No,
that's a jackass too.
No, he's awesome, dude. He's like the funnest guy to watch because he looks like he's always having fun out there. I'm gonna love watching this Hornets team, dude. But for the Suns, it's kind of a weird pick by me. I'm gonna go CP3. I think we're gonna be so surprised by how good he's gonna make this team and how good he still is and how good of a point guard he is. I think we've seen it in the preseason a little bit, but besides that, going into the season, I just think we're not prepared to see how much better this team's going to be. And I think we'll be still very, very surprised by basically just, this is our point guard. He's making everybody better. We're winning games. He's so, I don't know. He's going to be immaculate. It's going to be great. I just think people are going to be way more surprised than they think. League wide, though, I'm actually going to go with, I had a couple decisions. So I either chose Kobe White or Marvin Bagley. But I'm gonna choose Marvin Bagley because he's been hurt. But I think Marvin Bagley, I just think is really, really good. I don't think he's better than DeAndre Ayton, but I just think he's gonna surprise a lot of people. And I think that Kings team is gonna be tough. I think they're gonna be actually pretty good. They got a good young core. But I like if he can stay healthy, he's my number one pick for surprise the F of you out of you award here.
Whoa, don't cuss, Matthew, please. Jeez. Your mom's watching. Yeah. We ain't got time for that. I like Kobe White. I think that's kind of an interesting one. I mean, he's one of those guys who is faded away because Chicago's been irrelevant. And I think that they're building something nice there. I really like the fact that they held on to Lauri Markkanen, and I think that Kobe White could be somebody who comes out and shocks some players. So, or surprise them, if you will.
Yeah.
Iverson Vlogs in the chat. Jonathan Motley. Oh, wait, he's not on the team anymore. Nice zinger. I like it.
Too soon.
Perfectly timed. Oh, okay. In a week, we're going to forget the guy ever played for the Suns. He wore TJ Warren's old number 12. So that's another thing. If Frank comes back, nobody took 8 this offseason. Like every guy who left replaced their number. Like even Ricky Rubio's number's gone because you have Abdir Nader has it. But like 8's still there for you, Frank. Hashtag.
Yeah, I think when you bring back Frank, you don't tell anybody. You just have him sitting in the stands during the game, just eating popcorn. They're like, oh, yeah, the Suns added Frank Kaminsky, and he's up in the stands in the top deck just eating popcorn by himself. And then all of a sudden he comes in, he tears off the warm-ups, comes running down, and he's like, Franken! And there's no Baines there, and he's heartbroken a little bit. Oh, God, so last year. And by last year, we mean like 2 months ago. All right, Matthew, what's the next award we got out there? Sorry, I was choking a little bit over there. Next one is the Bob Gunn Award, Defensive Player of the Year.
All right, so Bob Gunn, for those of you who don't know, was the actor who played the Warden in Shawshank Redemption. Okay, and the Warden is, he played a lot of good defense on Andy Dufresne there. Ultimately, Andy Dufresne made his way out. But I think the reason that we came up with this award was because at the time the Warden was wreaking havoc on the league, and I found the guy who played the Warden in Shawshank. So that's the reason why. So Matthew, who is your Bob Gunton Award winner for the Suns and for the league going into the 2020-2021 season?
Goes without saying, Mikal Bridges is the defensive player of the year for the Suns, I think. We saw more towards the end of the preseason, but he's finding his rhythm. He can guard whoever the hell he wants. He will be like the anchor of our defense. I said the Holy Trinity. What did I say? Jay Crowder, DeAndre Ayton, and freaking Chris Paul, and I missed Mikal Bridges. That doesn't make any sense. I hope I didn't say that earlier, because Mikal Bridges.
We'll have to go back and check it.
Yeah, because he's part of the Holy Trinity, not Jay Crowder. I know Crowder brings a lot, but no, it's Mikal. Mikal is the defensive player for the Suns. For league-wide, I'm going to go Ben Simmons. I think the Sixers are going to be the best team in the East this year. As long as they keep those players together, Ben Simmons will be the anchor of the defense. They have a lot to prove, and I think they have Thibault too as well, which would help as well. But Ben Simmons up front, and Embiid's already a great defender, but he's going to be the guy that, they were going to trade him. They might have offered him on the trade block, but he's like, you know what? I'm not going to shoot threes. I'm going to focus on defense. Moving the ball around, that's what he does best. He will be defensive player of the year, I think, this year.
There is so much to unwrap there, Matthew. Okay, I don't know where to start. All right, I got 3 questions for you. Okay, first, you really think the Philadelphia 76ers are going to be the best team in the East this year over the Bucks and the Nets?
Yeah, by far, yeah.
Why?
Well, first of all, the Nets or the Bucks thing, you already know what I'm thinking about with Giannis. I don't think he's going to be there.
He's going to be traded.
No, even if he is, though, I think that it's going to be really tough, I feel like, for Giannis to get up and keep playing, because it's the same thing every year with them, where they're just great in the regular season. He's going to put up great stats. But I think the Sixers have been down. They've almost been over the top. They've almost been over the hill. I think this is the year they make it over. The Nets is a little bit tricky. I think they're going to get off to a slower start. They're going to be a little bit more inconsistent. And I just think that what the Sixers can do is be the best defensive team in the NBA. And I think you have 2 of the best players in the NBA, 2 of the top 20 best players in the NBA, and you're just going to be the best team in the East, because the East isn't that deep. And I just think that for the Nets, it's going to take a little bit of while for them to get going, which is fine. They're going to get ridiculed till the end, but I think it's just going to take them a little bit while to get things going.
Well, I'll let you think that. I'll respectfully disagree. I think the problem with the Sixers is that motor. We talk about having a motor, and Embiid doesn't have a motor. You look at Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Tell me Kevin Durant doesn't have a motor. I mean, that guy's got the best motor in the league. So, question number 2, Mikal. That's a great choice. I think you look in the chat. Blaze Megatron, the Man of Steel, and he says Mikal, and third Mikal. So a lot of people agree with you. I'm actually going to go DeAndre Ayton.
Cool.
I really think that what I saw against the Lakers is and knowing that he's going to have that constant, consistent coaching from CP3, from Willie Green and Monty Williams. I really think that he's going to take that next step, and he has an opportunity to be an all-defensive player. I think that Mikal is probably 1 year away from that. Just given his matchups are going to be so hard consistently that he might have some off nights. Like, DA is going to put up those stats. He's going to get those blocks. He's going to get those boards. He's going to get those statistics that are going to win you the defensive player of the year. Third, color shirt tonight. You're looking very fancy.
I had a tough choice. I was going to bring out like a suit jacket out here for the JAMMYs, but I was like, I don't think people really dress up for the Grammys. It's like the Academy Awards people dress up for. So if it was more that way, then I'd be like, I would probably dress up bow tie.
They dress up for the Grammys too.
Do they really?
Yes, absolutely.
Who cares about the Grammys, right?
Yeah, and Coda Kid, you got Mark Bryant coaching too. I mean, I really think that this is going to be DA's year to take a step defensively and get recognized for doing it. On a league level, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Giannis again. I think that the guy is the best defender in the league. It's very rare that you have the MVP and the defensive player be one and the same. And again, I think that he's going to have the ability to put up those defensive numbers and put up MVP type numbers. He's not going to win the MVP award, but he will win Defensive Player of the Year award. I honestly believe that. You have Drew Holiday. I mean, I don't know how you think that the 76ers are going to be a better defensive team than the Bucks when they got Drew Holiday and they got Giannis playing there. But that's
okay.
That's neither here nor there, buddy. Okay.
Yeah, but do you remember how good Embiid is on defense? Like, he's up there with Giannis.
When he wants to play.
No, he last year was just a shit show, but I believe in this team to bring it together, because they're like, you know what, we might get traded away. This will be our last opportunity. And I think they'll give it all they got. I think that Daryl Morey has done a good
I do think that Daryl Morey's done a good job of navigating his assets appropriately to set him up for success moving forward. Getting rid of the Josh Richardson contract, getting rid of the Al Horford contract, bringing in Seth Curry, putting shooters around these guys. I mean, those are all the right moves. I just, who knows? You might be right, but I respectfully disagree. All right, the next award, I think it's our second to last jammy that we're handing out in the preseason, is our Acid Jeans Award. And this is for the most washed player, aka how the hell is that guy getting minutes award. So for the Suns, who do you have, Matthew? And league-wide, who do you have?
All right, for the Suns, it has to be Elliot Kobo. For some reason, he's going to come in and take those minutes from Javon Carter.
That doesn't count. That's so last season.
I know. No,
actually, it was last season, though.
I hate to choose anybody out of this core right now because they're just playing so well. I feel like in preseason, they really showed their stuff. I think the only guy maybe that stood out a little bit to where it's like he might come in and like clog things up is Etuan Moore a little bit for the Suns. That's who I'm going to choose for this award. I don't want to go any further into it because I feel bad already doing this. But league-wide, I'm going to give it to Trevor Ariza. For some reason, he's still playing, I think, for the Thunder. Unless he's traded, I feel like that team is tanking. He's going to get a lot of minutes. And we'll probably play against him, be like, there's Trevor Ariza. So we have to deal with that again. So Trevor Ariza and Etuan Moore. Who do you got, John?
Okay, Etuan Moore was on my list just because he has not had the greatest of preseasons. But I'm going to give it to Damian Jones. Young player, explosive dunker, somebody who can really benefit from a lot of great entry passes. But outside of that, he doesn't have a phenomenal skill set. He's not a really great defensive player. He's not a really great rebounder, just from what I've seen in my short time, and perhaps I'm wrong. He can't shoot. So he's very one-dimensional as a player, whereas I feel like a lot of James Jones's players are multifaceted and can play both sides of the court. Even though he does like to look for those guys with specific skills, he definitely found a guy with one specific skill. And that's a guy who can just dunk, and that's pretty much it. So I hope to see Damian Jones grow and become a more solid big because the Suns are going to need him. Again, like I said earlier, Jalen Smith is somebody who I thought would come in and play some backup 5, and in the preseason, all he's done is play backup 4 and cover the corners. He's shooting from the corner and covering guys on the corner and collapsing to grab rebounds, but he's not in there trying to play the 5. So that's who I'm giving the Acid Jeans Award to for the Suns. League-wide, I think Trevor Ariza's a really good pick. The guy I'm going to go with is somebody who I saw just signed again for the Miami Heat. That's Udonis Haslem. Like, I don't know if he's getting any minutes, but like,
no, he doesn't.
He's just a coach in the league. Yeah, he's like a player coach though. Like,
yeah,
why? Yeah,
that's why. I mean,
in the chat they're talking about Blaze Megatron. Just hire him as a coach already. Like,
I know. Yeah,
I'm just surprised he's still in the league. But I guess how's this guy getting minutes is kind of the philosophy behind this award. So I'll just piggyback on yours, Trevor Ariza for sure.
You just gotta look up Trevor Ariza for this award and see what team he's on. Just remember that, and then you can choose him.
You have no idea where he is. All right, what is the last award?
The last and probably a fan favorite is going to be the Beer Crack Award.
I got a video for that.
That would be the
Beer Crack Award.
Yeah, for the favorite player.
Yes, for your favorite player on the Phoenix Suns, Matthew, and your favorite player who is in the league who is not a Phoenix Sun.
It is hard not to choose Devon Booker because his game is just ridiculous to watch, and there's so many oohs and ahs. To match up my league-wide player basically is Ja Morant. Ja Morant is the guy that I'm going to love to watch. It does suck he plays for Memphis because they're going to be hopefully a team that we're better than, but he is just going to have highlights every night. He's going to make that team way better than they probably should be, but he's just, he's the dunk god this year. He's going to be making those highlights to where it's going to be irresistible to want to watch him every night. He's just going to come out there 30, 35 minutes a game and just put up those highlights, dude. So I'm going to choose him along with Devon Booker because he's going to be sweet this year. Just super sweet.
Yeah, he's so much fun to watch. He really is. I mean, I think when the Suns had the worst record or the second worst record, I don't recall, but I know it was bad, and we had a shot at getting either Zion or Ja Morant, like you and I were so excited. And to know that in that draft we fell all the way to number 6 and we didn't even have a shot. Because I remember going into that draft, like I wanted Ja Morant more than I wanted Zion. Because I felt we needed a playmaker, and that guy's just so much fun to watch. He's not mine. I mean, for the Suns, it's Devin Booker, and for me, that's a big feat. I'm somebody who, for the duration of Devin Booker's career, have been unbelievably critical. I just bought his Valley jersey. Okay, that finally shows you that I care, because over here's my DeAndre Ayton jersey that I've had for a couple of years, because I was a big fan of getting DeAndre Ayton. I think that athletic center is something that not a lot of the league really has an affinity for right now, but if you get the right guy, he can essentially change the league. And I feel like DA has that capability and that talent within him, and we're just all sitting around waiting for it to truly be unlocked. This could be the year that it does become unlocked. But now I've watched Devon Booker during this preseason, and I'm just like, dude, like, he is so polished. He is such a complete player. He has all the skill set. He's a humble guy. He's a guy who's, nailing a Jenner right now, and he doesn't ever talk about it. He's never in the national media spotlight. Like, the only reason we know he's on like Kardashian Island is because he's like blurry in the background, like Bigfoot, in a picture. Like, you have to put the mystery together to see if he's actually there. I mean, the guy is just everything you want from your superstar, and I'm finally on board. I'm finally on board with Devon Booker being my favorite son. It's taken me a while to get there, because I've been critical of just kind of the way he plays and his attitude on the court. That's always been the big turnoff for me with Devon Booker, is the way that he would yell at teammates and the way that he would throw tantrums. And he still does it, but I really feel like at this point he's got the game to back it up. It's one thing if you're scoring 17 a night and you're yelling at your teammates. It's another thing if you're dropping nearly 27 a night, and it's like, okay, respect. As for league wide, let me cue it up. My beer crack award winner would have to be Kevin Durant. I love Kevin Durant. I love that he's back in this league. The Slim Reaper, as he hates to be called, but I love calling him. I loved him when he played at Texas, and he's just been so much fun to watch. And when he went to Golden State, it really turned me off for a while, because I was like, okay, now you're chasing rings, and I'm not a huge fan of that. But then he went to Brooklyn. Now he's playing for Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire and Mike D'Antoni, and he's looking great in the preseason. He's got the explosiveness back. He's got that silky smooth jump shot that he lets go from 8 feet 9 inches. I mean, he is such a beautiful player to watch. And I get the Ja Morant's the exciting player, but when the game's on the line, I'm going with the Slim Reaper, man. And I'm excited that he's back and that we get to watch him play in the NBA once again.
Yeah, God bless that guy. I hope things go good with that team this year. I hope the injury is okay. I hope he's back to normal, even if he's 90%, dude. That's like still the third best player in the NBA right now. So if we have that, I'm all for that too, man. I can't argue with you on that.
So, well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children in all ages. That was
the Jammies.
So we'll come back to this, or maybe we won't. At the end of the year, we'll do our preseason jammies as well. There'll probably be a much muted version, because we already know who some of our players are and who they aren't, but it'd be nice to kind of maybe check back in and see how it goes. But we've put it out there. It's officially out there in the universe in podcast form and on YouTube as well. So no taking it back now, Matthew. There are our jammies.
I love it. Had a lot of fun, dude. This is the best time of the year right now.
Yes. Best time of year, because we're 0-0. The season starts on Wednesday. So for those of you who are loyal watchers, make sure you press the little bell to know when we go live, because we're going to go live on YouTube right after the end of that Mavericks game. I don't care if it's 10:45 at night, Arizona time. Matthew and I, the Suns Jam Session podcast, will be going live. We'll probably be live for about 30 minutes, and then we'll actually kick it over to the Suns solar panel, where you can see Saul, Espo, and Dave, and get their thoughts on that game against the Dallas Mavericks. Hopefully we're popping beers of celebration following a victory over the Mavericks. If we lost, okay, we'll be 0-1, and we'll talk about some of the challenges we faced there. So make sure that you tune in for that. Another thing that we have going on this week, we'll be releasing our first Suns Jam Session video podcast on our YouTube channel, where we're actually going to be breaking down the preseason performance of Jalen Sticks Smith, looking at kind of all aspects of his game and putting our thoughts out there. That's been really fun to put together, Matthew.
Yeah, I loved it, dude. Another little thing that we want to do here to help you Jamsters get through the season.
Yes. So always a good time hanging out with you, my friend. I got to go try to catch the end of this Browns and Giants game. I need 5 points from my Cleveland Browns defense to advance in the fantasy football playoffs. I have no idea what the score is. Like, I really hope they got some sacks or something, or one pick six, and I win the game. So
yeah, one pick six. That's all you need. It's not that difficult. You know what? Next weekend, hopefully, we're watching the championship games together in our fantasy.
There you go. There you go. So, Suns Jam, Sir Faithful, we appreciate you listening. Make sure you subscribe to the pod on the Bright Side of the Sun Podcast Network. You can follow the pod on Twitter at Suns Jam. You can follow me on Twitter at Darth Voida. You can follow Matthew on Twitter. That's it. Let's go. Jammies are done. Beer's done. Take care, everybody.
All right, everyone go home and love your family.
Amen. Take care.